Theresa had just turned on her phone when her body suddenly froze. Her eyes widened as if the sight before her was choking the air out of her lungs. Her hand trembled uncontrollably, making the screen sway. What was reflected on the screen wasn't her. The face staring back looked like her, but its skin was deathly pale, like a corpse pulled fresh from the grave. Its eyes were empty, milky white voids with no pupils. And then it smiled, a crooked, distorted grin as if every muscle in its face had been broken and rearranged in the most grotesque way. "No way," Theresa whispered, her voice catching in her throat, each word escaping like a desperate plea. Her breaths became erratic, each gasp tightening her chest in panicked convulsions. The ghastly face in the screen moved. Its pale lips parted ever so slightly, whispering something, perhaps a secret, perhaps a curse. Theresa couldn't make out the words, but the overwhelming sensation of terror engulfed her, blurring the line between nightmare and reality. Tristan noticed that Theresa had been motionless for too long and quickly moved closer, shining his flashlight onto her pale face. "Theresa, are you okay?" he asked gently, shaking her shoulder. But she didn't respond, as if petrified by some invisible horror. Just then, the eerie face in the phone's screen gave a twisted smile, a grin not just crooked, but brimming with sick joy. Suddenly, its ghostly white eyes shifted, locking directly onto Tristan through the screen. A chill shot down his spine like an icy dagger. Before Tristan could react, the flashlight in his hand flickered and went out. Darkness crashed in, enveloping the camp like a suffocating shroud, squeezing every last bit of light out of existence. The silence was deafening, broken only by the shallow, fragmented breaths of those present. Then, from within the darkness, a soft, sinister laugh echoed. It was delicate yet malevolent, as if it had been waiting for this moment for an eternity. The sound didn't belong to anyone in the group. It floated in the air, threading through the wind, a lullaby from hell itself. Tristan managed to switch his flashlight back on. The pale beam cut through the darkness, landing directly on Theresa's face. What he saw made his blood run cold. Theresa's face was grotesquely distorted, her lips twisted into an unnervingly crooked smile. Her eyes glimmered with a deranged, otherworldly light, a spark of madness that did not belong to her. "Theresa," Lydia whispered, her voice hoarse with terror, her trembling hand clutching Tristan's arm tightly. But Theresa, or whatever had taken her place, did not answer. She simply stood there, silent, that horrifying grin frozen on her face as though carved into her flesh. In that moment, the group understood the horrifying truth. The person standing before them was no longer Theresa. Something else had taken her place. Suddenly, Theresa's phone slipped from her hand and hit the ground with a hollow clatter. The screen remained lit, casting a cold blue glow, and in that faint light, a face emerged. It was Theresa's real face, staring out from inside the phone screen, her eyes filled with despair. Her lips moved silently, screaming for help. Theresa in the screen pounded desperately against the glass, but no sound escaped. She was trapped, left behind in the otherworldly void, while the monstrous thing standing before the group was nothing but a sinister puppet in her image. The suffocating silence shattered with a loud, echoing laugh. It ricocheted through the forest's oppressive darkness, jolting everyone. Lydia screamed in terror, while Tristan stumbled backward, gripping his flashlight tightly, his face a mixture of shock and confusion. Theresa suddenly burst out laughing, A hearty, carefree laugh. The grotesque grin melted away, replaced by a familiar, playful expression. She clutched her stomach, laughing so hard her eyes crinkled in amusement. "What the hell is this?" Tristan blurted, his voice a blend of anger and bewilderment. "What's going on here?" Harvey stepped out from the shadows, laughing triumphantly. He clapped slowly as he sauntered toward the group, his face radiating smug satisfaction. "Pretty convincing, right?" Harvey chuckled, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "So, did anyone feel like crying yet?" Theresa turned to face the group, the eerie expression gone from her face. "It was just a prank," she said, laughing uncontrollably, trying to keep calm under the shocked stares of her friends. "Harvey installed a reflection simulation app on my phone. It creates a scary face on the screen and syncs it with the camera to make it look real." Tristan glared at the two of them, his grip on the flashlight still tight. "Are you guys insane? This isn't funny." "Relax," Harvey said, patting Tristan on the shoulder, his smirk still lingering. "It was just a little prank. We wanted to spice up the night a bit." Lydia clung to Theresa's arm, still visibly shaken. "Spice it up? I thought it was real." Her voice trembled with lingering fear. "That's what makes it fun," Theresa said with a cheeky wink. "Otherwise, ghost stories wouldn't be scary, would they?" But as the group tried to recover from the fright and exchanged blame for the stunt, a sudden icy gust of wind swept through the campsite. The campfire, which had somehow reignited, flared violently, its flames dancing erratically before being snuffed out as if extinguished by an invisible hand. No one was laughing anymore. The air grew heavy once again. Tristan swallowed hard, his voice low. "All right. This one isn't a prank, right?" Then, from the surrounding darkness, faint footsteps echoed, slow, deliberate, and unnervingly heavy, as though someone or something was approaching them. Part 5. Lydia's story. The Faceless Ghost. The campfire crackled back to life, fed by glowing embers and dry firewood, but its warmth felt fragile against the suffocating darkness that enveloped them. The night no longer felt like a silent void. It was a living entity, creeping through every gap, pressing fear into their hearts and lungs. Instinctively, the group huddled closer together, as though proximity might somehow protect them. The wind howled through the tall trees, carrying with it eerie sounds, rustling leaves, chirping insects, and faintly, a distant, mournful wail. As the night deepened, the darkness thickened, bringing an unshakable sense of unease. It felt like unseen eyes were watching, waiting for a moment of vulnerability to strike. No one spoke, but the oppressive silence only made things worse. Lydia pulled her jacket tighter around her, trying to steady her breath against the chill that seeped into her skin. Her eyes betrayed a mix of fear and an odd determination. I'll tell the next story," she said softly, her voice trembling but resolute. All eyes turned to Lydia. In this tension-filled atmosphere, her promise of another tale felt less like a comfort and more like an invitation to the darkness, a door opening to the unknown, beyond which lay unimaginable horrors. "Have you guys ever heard of the Faceless Ghost?" Lydia began, her gaze drifting into the pitch-black void before them, as though searching for something hidden in the shadows. "It's a cursed spirit that hunts those who become aware of its existence. It doesn't have a face, just a blank, featureless head, as if every trace of its identity has been erased from the world." She swallowed hard, her shoulders trembling slightly as though recounting the tale was an act of courage in itself. "They say that once you know about it, the Faceless Ghost will enter your dreams. It doesn't speak or make a sound. It just walks silently into your mind. With every encounter, it steals a part of your memory. At first, something small. You might forget a familiar street or the name of an old friend, but then Lydia paused, her eyes darting nervously toward the darkness. Her voice dropped, heavy with foreboding. Then you'll start to forget yourself, little by little, until there's nothing left. One day, when you look into a mirror, your own face will be gone, blank, featureless, as though you never existed. She fell silent for a moment, her gaze distant, as if she had lived the nightmare she described. Her words hung in the air, heavy and unsettling, like the echoes of someone who had glimpsed the unimaginable. If you ever see the faceless ghost in your dreams, never look directly at it. Don't let your eyes meet the emptiness where its face should be. If you do... Lydia's voice faltered, and she looked around the campfire, her expression grave. The moment you acknowledge it, it will know. It will know you see it, and from that instant, it will never let you go.